Hi guys, it's Megan here. Today's video is part 2 of this hallway haul tree that I am making in my front entrance and trying to give it a little uplift. And if you are new here, thanks so much for clicking on this video. I will link the other video and a few other videos down below. I am a person that loves to do things on a budget, all things living and lifestyle. So if that is something or some reason that you clicked on this video to come along and watch, thanks for coming along. You might like this channel. So here is where I'm at. I had this entryway. It was kind of cluttered, and I had a old TV armoire in my garage and decided to utilize it in this entryway. This is what it looked like when I bought the house. And so come along with me and see the progress that I've made. This is part 2. Part 3 will be out here next week. So I do have a part 1 to this video that shows kind of the deconstruction process and then adding the armoire into this area. I did have to have my daughter's boyfriend make some cuts for me as it was just a smidge offset getting this into the closet. So if you want to check out that video, I will link it below. But here I'm just taking some scrap drywall that I had on hand from a project that I did in my basement. I will link a few of those videos below too. So here I didn't pay for anything. I did have to pay for some screws in part 1's video and some other things. But then I also had to buy some spackling or drywall compound. I always forget what that stuff's called. Anyway, so I had a Dollar Tree little spackling tool that I used. It's actually for paint, but it came in handy because it's just a small little project. So I just needed a flat edge, longer tool to get all of this drywall mudding to adhere to the wall evenly. I am not a professional at this. You can YouTube your own videos if you are up for a project, something like this, but I'm just here to show you my journey and how I saved money to give my house a little uplift and a little refresh. So I ended up doing 3 coats of the mudding. And so there's like coats of sanding and prepping and sanding and prepping for the mudding process. And then I did end up borrowing the Skill sander tool and sanded down the whole area to try to darken the stain. And I did end up going and making my own stain here. I was hoping to have more of like a natural wood, like almost kind of like a wood that's been sitting out in the weather and kind of a weathered stain look. And so I copied the Sorry Girls staining process that they used for one of their projects that they did over on their channel. It was a cost-effective project that they did, and so that's what I was kind of gearing to do, even though I have some gel stain and other stains on hand in my garage. But I did 3 cups of apple cider vinegar, and then I boiled that, and as soon as it got to like a very slight boil, I went ahead and put it into a jar, and then I added some steel wool. I will show the package here in a second, but I added the steel wool, and I did end up putting some gloves on because I didn't want like my oils on the hands. That's what the Sorry Girls did over on their channels. I don't know if that would have had any effect on anything if my hands touched any of the products, but I did have some steel wool that I bought for about $6 for the pack. and then I only added 2. So I had leftover. So essentially it probably only cost about, $2 or $3 to make this natural kind of stain. And so I will kind of show you here as it kind of sat for the like brewing process. It was kind of like bubbling. You could kind of see it working its magic, but I did go ahead and set the timer for 60 minutes or 1 hour and just kind of gave it a little stir every 60 minutes. And then after about 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, you could do it overnight as well. But I went ahead and started the staining process. But you do want to filter out your steel wool from the vinegar, the staining process, but it actually worked, and so that was pretty cool, and I'll show you here in a second. I was hoping, really hoping that this stain kind of carried over on to the hall tree, but it unfortunately didn't. I don't think I sanded all the way down to where I needed to. So you'll see here as I'm taking one of the door faces and how some of it is immediately kind of getting to that that natural wood kind of weathering wood process that it would be naturally outside. It's like literally seconds that it started to stain and darken the area, but so I had to use some other techniques, and you will see here in a minute, and which is why this is a part 3, because it took me quite a while through all these staining processes to kind of figure out what to do so I didn't highly screw up this entire area. So I ended up having to take a gel stain, and I had 2 different gel stains, and I topped it over the gray stain that I was using, and you can see this is naturally gray staining this whole thing, so you can see the color changes, but I wanted to go with a darker effect. And also some of the areas where I had to put wood filler in, it wasn't naturally gray staining, even though I used some wood filler and then a natural wood filler on top of it, using the sanding bag full of dust, sand dust, and naturally making my own wood filler. I thought it would work a little bit better, but it didn't. So some of the areas turned out really cool, but others didn't. So I just used a gel stain. You use a gel stain of your choice. I go to my local under the sink. It is a great way to repurpose chemicals that might just get repurposed from other people in the local area that donate to properly dispose of chemicals. And so if the team that works there, if they feel like it can be restored out into their storefront, they will. And so you can get your paints, gel stains, other things that you might find under the sink there for free. And there is limitations and stuff like that, but it's a great way to not spend money on stuff like that. So I am done staining this hall tree in my entryway closet, and I'll show you here. So I clearly didn't sand all the places correctly, and while I think this staining process could work, what I did was gel stained 2 coats of this on here, and then I tried to darken it up in certain areas, but I don't know if you can see, it just kind of isn't blending well. And so while I felt like the darker gel stain would get some of these red tones and orange tones out and darken the space up, it really didn't. It did really work okay here, but I'm still not liking it. It worked okay in here, still not liking it the greatest. And don't mind that the drawers are just
the door faces are just off of here. But I think I'm gonna go in with this with a black paint. I'll show you here what I'm gonna do with the drawers and see if that works. And I feel like that this process will work better, what I'm about to show you here, and even out the stain here. And if I end up not liking it, I can always just paint it, but I was kind of hoping for more of the natural wood tone look, or just kind of more of a wood tone look. So 1 minute here and I'll show you what I'm doing. So as you can see here, the coloring is off a bit. You might not be able to see it as well on camera, but I'm just gonna try to take this and kind of even out the staining process that has happened here. And also what I'm gonna try to do is take a little edge piece, like a piece of trim, and trim this little edge here. I'm not quite sure yet. If not, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get some stain in there in the corners to hide those little imperfections that I missed. So really here, all I'm doing is just lightly painting a coat over this with the goal of, again, just covering these imperfections. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and come back and we shall see how it turns out. So I quickly wanted to just share with you, all I'm doing is lightly dabbing in here in the paint and then kind of lightly dabbing in the water and then just kind of painting this on in long strokes. So that way it's kind of getting like the whole piece of wood and kind of blending in. Right now I already see that it's kind of soaking into the wood, which is kind of the effect that I'm going for. And I'm hoping that all this gets kind of soaked in, and so it kind of still looks like a stain over the wood instead of like being painted. And so I'm just gonna keep going on with this and the hopes that this is gonna work out. And then again, I'm gonna go in with a sander and just lightly sand on the corners. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep working on this.
Decided I wanted to add a shelf on top of this hall tree, and so I took some leftover wood and did the same process by sanding it down and staining processes, and then also painting, which took another few days as I had to allow each layer to dry properly. So I didn't do this in a work area. I just did this right in my kitchen. Probably not the best idea. So don't follow where locations of where you do these processes at as I'm doing them. As far as cost-wise, this is staying pretty low on budget. I will gather up all the totals here in part 3, which I'll be sharing with you guys again next week. But yeah, I'm really excited because I think this is going to be a project under $50. Now, it costs $50, and you know, $50 is a little pocket change, but I think that with the price of wood and the price of everything, like just the labor of it and in general, you really can't beat spending under $50. I already had my paintbrush on hand. My paint was here that I'm doing, you know, touching up the area, and then this whole sanded area with getting this whole area kind of cleaned up and needed just a fresh coat of paint. And so anyway, that didn't cost me any money. The paintbrush, I reused my paintbrush, and all the staining really was all from under the sink as well as the paint. So this is really costing me nothing but my time. So I'm really happy how this is turning out, and I really hope you come back on part 3. Again, my videos here, I'm just sharing with you my journey and how I save money for me and my home and my family, and it's all things savings. It's food, meals, DIY projects, decorating, clothing, me and my kids, all of the things to live. I try to find every way to save money, and I want to be able to live a debt-free life one day, and just not feel like I'm constantly paying bills, credit cards, loans, or what have you. So I'm getting there. And the only way I'm getting there is by being very conscious of my budget and what I'm spending in life. So I hope that you are also here trying to, you know, find what different ways to save money, or maybe you're just here to find a budget-friendly DIY project. But if you are, whether you're here for whatever reason you are here, or just come in here to kill some time, I'm happy you're here. But let's try to do this together and save a little bit of money, and hope you guys stick around and come back for next week's video. Thanks for watching. Bye.